Hi and welcome to another Fratello Watches video. Today we will be taking a look at the new 2020 Glashütte Original Annual Edition models that the brand released in April of this year. Let me start off by explaining what the idea is behind the annual editions. Every year Glashütte Original releases two special timepieces from their 60s collection with a very special handmade dial. The pieces show the exceptional craftsmanship in dial making of the Glashütte Original dial manufactory located in Pforzheim, Germany. Glashütte Original released the first two annual edition models back at Baselworld 2018. At that time the brand released both the 60s and the 60s panorama date models that featured an incredibly textured green dial. In 2019 they were followed by the release of the same two models featuring a spectacular fiery orange dial. All four models showcase perfectly that a combination of bright colors and intricate details fit perfectly with the overall retro looks of the 60s models. The results are bold statement timepieces that were the talk of town during Baselworld. Now for this year, Glashütte Original decided to take a different route. If we take a look at the new editions, you will see that Glashütte Original made two big changes for 2020. The first change is the dial color. As you can see, for this year the brand chose to go for a stunning Glacier Blue dial instead of the extravagant colors that were used in the years before. A second change is that Glashütte Original decided to swap the 60s panorama date model for the 60s chronograph model. In my opinion, it's a clever choice as these two models are a bit further apart in terms of design and functionality, and they create a better overall offering. The overall idea for the dials is inspired by the alpine scenery and specifically the different shades of natural blue that glaciers can have. The dial color is achieved through a number of production steps. First, the dial blanks get their sunray finish before being pressed into their domed shape. After it is pressed into shape, the dials are given a galvanic nickel coating. The dégradé effect is achieved by spraying the dials with a dark blue lacquer, creating the dark edges. After that, the dial is given a coat of Glacier Blue lacquer. In a last and final step, the dials are heated in an oven to burn the colors. Now the great thing is that because the complete production process of the dials is all done by hand, every individual dial has its own unique color gradient. So what we end up with are beautiful blue dials for both the 60s and the 60s chronograph model. If we take a look at the design of both 60s models, it consists of a combination of round shapes and fluid lines with some quirky details. The domed shape of the case and the ultra-curved sapphire crystal that follows the curvature of the dial and hands express 60s design perfectly. Combine those elements with the quirky Arabic numerals and we end up with two models that are perfect modern-day representations of the 1960s watches. So let's take a closer look at each of the two models. The first of the two annual edition models is the regular 60s model. The watch features a 39mm polished stainless steel case, and as you can see it features the stunning Glacier Blue dial and a brown-grey nubuck calfskin strap with contrasting stitching. I have to say the combination of the blue dial color and the brown-grey strap with the pin buckle looks very nice. As you can see, it looks very crisp. I love the clean and almost understated looks of this year's models compared to the very extravagant colors that were used in 2018 and 2019. If we turn the watch around, you can see the Glashütte caliber 3952 through the sapphire case back. It's an in-house developed automatic movement that ticks at a frequency of 4 Hz and has a power reserve of 40 hours. It's a nicely decorated movement that features a 3/4 plate with stripe finish, a swan neck fine adjustment, beveled edges, and it has a skeletonized rotor with stripe finish, and it also features the iconic double G logo. Overall, I have to say I love the looks of this watch. If we go to the second of the two watches, we have the 60s chronograph that replaces the 60s panorama date, and it also looks very crisp and very clean. It's slightly larger than the regular 60s model. The polished stainless steel case of the 60s chronograph is 42mm in size. And just like the regular 60s model, the 60s chronograph is also defined by its round shapes. On top of that, the 60s chronograph features vintage-inspired pump pushers on the side of the case. On the Glacier Blue dial, you will find two large sub-counters. These indicate both the running seconds and minutes. The watch also comes with a brown-grey nubuck calfskin strap with contrasting stitching and a pin buckle. Inside the 60s chronograph you will find the Glashütte Original caliber 39-34 movement. It is based on the caliber 39 platform and has an added chronograph module. Just like the three-hander, it ticks at a frequency of 4 Hz and has a 40-hour power reserve. The finishing of the movement is equal to that of the regular 60s model. So it features the same 3/4 plate with stripe finish, swan neck fine adjustment, bevel edges, and it has a skeletonized rotor with stripe finish, and it has the same iconic double G logo. In the first 2 years of releasing the annual edition models, Glashütte Original chose to create something bold and something spectacular. For this year's annual edition models, the brand chose a different look for their watches. Although you could call the watches understated at first glance, the color combination and the intricate details of the dials create two timepieces that are at least as stunning to look at as the previous editions. And although it's difficult to choose, out of the two annual edition models, I like the regular 60s models probably the best. I like the 39mm size, and I also love the clean looks it has. The 60s annual edition 2020 is available at a retail price of 6,600 euros. The 60s Chronograph Annual Edition 2020 is available at a retail price of 8,100 euros. Both models are available through Glashütte Original boutiques and selected retailers worldwide, and the watches will be available for a year only. As both watches were released in April of this year, you will have until April of 2021 before the models will be replaced by the annual editions for 2021. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. Until next time.